So as I promised, we were going to do another weather update before I left tonight. If you missed the one at 9:30, you can catch this one. And I've got plenty of time to sit here and talk to you. The newscast is over with now. We can kind of take our time to look at this thing as a whole. And I'm going to try to answer the questions the best that I can. But sometimes I get so many of them that I overlook some. I'm going to try not to, because I do this weather after dark for you, and I'm trying to give everybody a chance to ask questions. But it's like I say, sometimes there's just too much going on, and I can't get to them all. So just like I did at 9:30, I'm going to do this kind of like I did a weather forecast here. So so many people on social media show all these models and these maps and stuff, and I just don't think they look that good. And it's hard to understand some of them. And let's just face it, to the average Joe, meteorology sometimes can be very confusing, but I'm going to try the best I can to try to explain what's going on. So there's our storm center anyway. This is the upper level low pressure. This is this big chunk of energy sitting out here, and it's spinning. You can see the spin, clockwise rotation in it here. This is back across Mexico into southern parts of Arizona. It's big. It really stretches all the way down here, almost to central Mexico tonight. And there's actually a little disturbance, another little chunk of colder air coming out of the Rockies. It's about to kind of team up with this and push it to the east. Already we're seeing a little wave of energy kind of out ahead of it here. And by the way, we have south winds increasing out ahead of it too. And that's promoting some warming with our temperatures, especially above the Earth's surface. So, when we initially thought this was going to be all snow for a big chunk of Texas, now it looks like there could be an ice storm and maybe rain in places that we're looking like we're going to see ice earlier. And then there's going to be the snow. But I think the biggest snow amounts come in when the colder air rushes in tomorrow night. So again, here's your storm. This is the initial little wave here, and this is going to pivot northward into the Texas Panhandle and up into Oklahoma, western Oklahoma, and into northwest Texas here as we head towards tomorrow morning. And I expect this first little wave of energy to produce a pretty wide spread of snow, area of snow tomorrow morning into the early afternoon. And then tomorrow night, as the whole system begins to come together, we're going to see another wave, and I believe that's when the most intense snow is going to occur across the Lone Star State here. Now, this is the radar, and I'm kind of focused back over northwest Texas, southwest Oklahoma. But remember, this weather update, especially on social media, isn't just for my people in my viewing area, but it's for everybody that's being impacted by this. Like I say, I can't answer everybody's question, but I'm trying the best I can to try to get to show you what's going to happen in your area here. So there's the radar. This is what we call virga. This is high-level moisture. It's moisture. The radar beam sees it. It's way up high. Very oftentimes you see it in winter weather because usually cold air is dry. So beneath the clouds and the Earth's surface, it's a big pocket of dry air. So as that moisture tries to fall out of the clouds, it evaporates. It's called virga. Now, we jump down to the southwest here, and I do believe that this area back into the southeastern parts of New Mexico, where you see these higher returns here, that's probably reaching the ground. There's probably some light snow back here near Hobbs, New Mexico, maybe some sleet there too. And you're also seeing a bit of an increase in that down here closer to Pecos. And again, this is that little wave of energy that will rotate northward, and that's what's going to give the initial, at least, surge of wintry precipitation in Texas here, in at least northwest parts of Texas. So here we are tomorrow morning. At least, actually, let's just look at Thursday as a whole here. So remember, that big spin is back here. That's your upper level storm center, okay? But weather is complicated and complex. And out ahead of it, there's going to be an area of low pressure at the surface, or a storm center at the Earth's surface here. And that's going to move basically across the northwestern Gulf of Mexico, maybe a hair back to the west some, towards maybe Houston, and then going to cross into Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. North of that is where your precipitation is going to be. And there's that cold air, which is sitting back in here. And some of the cold air is modifying some now at that south wind. But remember, other processes can take over and can compensate for that. And there's going to be some more cold air coming in tomorrow night. So I look for widespread wintry precipitation north of this here. There's going to be snow in places like Memphis, Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas, southern Arkansas, ice back to the northwest there in Shreveport, and then there's going to be ice and snow across Texas and Oklahoma. So here we are. There's your wintry mix tomorrow morning into the afternoon. And again, some of the weather information is trying to bring just rain north of Dallas now. But I'm not going to jump on that just yet. It's a close call. I'm going to go with the wintry mix into Dallas, morning, afternoon. Mostly rain south of there, but keep in mind there could be some ice back in this area here too. This is mostly snow, but there could be a little sleet mixed in. And I do suppose that if temperatures can get just warm enough, there might even be a raindrop or two, but I think it's going to predominantly be snow. But as we get into the evening, and your storm center southeast of us really starts to ramp up here. There's going to be a band of some really heavy. This is your main storm here. And that snow is going to explode here. I think it's going to be really heavy here tomorrow night from southeastern parts of Oklahoma, southwestern parts of Arkansas, back into south central Oklahoma. Then you jump down into north central, northeast Texas here. Dallas, you should get in on the Act 2. And there's going to be also the back edge coming through northwest Texas and southwest Oklahoma here too. And as I've been alluding to, it's not just, I just looked at the American GFS and the NAM model showing it too. Actually has this band of heavier snow a little bit back to the west here. So with that said, I mean, it's possible that numbers are going to go up. I've increased numbers a little bit based upon evening weather data, and they could still change some tomorrow. One thing, though, I like to stay consistent. I don't want to be real inconsistent. But, man, when it comes to these winter weather situations, you've really got to kind of wait and see how things kind of evolve and play out. Remember, if we're talking about rain, it's not that big of a deal. Dang, Chris, that was loud. Sorry. So you just dropped something back there behind the screen here. So anyway, so if we're talking about rain, it's not that big of a deal. You know, if you get the 2 more tenths of an inch of rain, then good, we got some rain, we needed it, right? But if you get 2 more inches of snow, 2 more tenths of an inch of snow, you'll wind up with a couple more inches of snow. Then you say, wow, we got more than you notice that. You notice that a lot more. So let's try to talk about it. So here we are. This is I want to change something. I don't want to show this one. I want to show a wider version of this. I want to show a wider version of this. So give me a second to pull in what I'm wanting to pull in here. Here we go. Here we go. All right. All right, so here we are, first thing in the morning here. I'm going to stop this right here, okay? So here we are, first thing in the morning. There's that initial wave I was just talking about, all right? So what you're seeing here on the map, this is the colors imposed. You're seeing probably sleet, freezing rain, a wintry mix down here, Abilene into the Dallas-Waco area. You know, this comes in tomorrow morning into Dallas. It's going to create some problems on those elevated surfaces down here. That's going to be a mess here. North of it, you probably have snow, but there'll probably be a little sleet mixed in too. Remember, the initial will probably be a lot of it evaporating, but this is going to mostly be snow, and you can see the snow increasing back towards Lubbock, Midland. And then this is going to move over into this area here, across northwest Texas, southwest Oklahoma, morning into the midday hour, early afternoon. So I'm going to show you that now here. So this is just kind of the first wave coming on through here. So this is at 8 a.m. and then we're going to go all the way to, here we are at about 10 a.m., 10:30, 11. And notice how you have that widespread area of snow now that occurs from about Oklahoma City all the way down to the southern reaches of Texoma here. Now, we'll have to see. It's going to be a close call, Abilene and Dallas at this point in time. Some areas may still be sleet, freezing rain. Other areas may be snow. It may be a situation where you transition back and forth between the two. Yeah, I think that further north across Texas, most of that will be snow there. So that kind of moves on by. And where you see that light blue, there are some higher, what we call DBZ returns in there, which would indicate heavier pockets of snow. And so that's what I'm talking about. So you see Dallas kind of transition maybe back from some snow to maybe some sleet, freezing rain. And even some of the latest data, is trying to bring warmer temperatures northward. And I think this might be indicating something here. Now that I'm thinking, this is me thinking out loud, that storm center that we've been tracking, and we said there was a couple scenarios we talked about. One would be to the east, one would be to the west. And I think that the evening data is actually trying to bring that storm center a little bit further northwest. And I think that's why some of the heavier amounts are trying to go back west too here. So it makes sense now, because you're seeing what the models anyway are trying to bring now rain into the southern part of Dallas. Remember, there were people on social media putting over a foot of snow in Dallas a couple of days ago. That's not going to happen. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see a transition there. That tells me that the storm center itself is a little bit further northwest here. But this is kind of the back edge. What you're going to wind up seeing here is tomorrow evening, as the storm is intensifying just southeast of us, and that big upper level energy starting to kick out here, you're going to see another wave, I think, of precipitation develop kind of down here in central Texas and then lift northward here. And that could help increase snowfall amounts for the eastern parts of northwest Texas. That's when your main winter storm comes into play. Now watch this here, all right? So there is there's the back edge of that storm center there. So there's 7 p.m. And then as we get into the evening hours, you can kind of see there that snow expanding over there into the eastern parts of northwest Texas. Look at all that heavy snow. That's your main storm. There's your heavy snow into Dallas. There's your big, heavy, widespread heavy snow event there, northeast up towards Paris, Texas, into the southeastern parts of Oklahoma, over into Arkansas. And you may even wind up with some heavy bands of snow back into parts of Clay, Montague, Jack, Young County there too. And that continues. Look at that, continues for several hours. One thing I say is to get heavy snow amounts, you've really got to see a longer duration, and it may be there. But look at those light blue colors showing up. That shows where that heavy snow, it just persists there. And I mean, it's very heavy snow over there, southeast Oklahoma, north. Somebody in extreme northeast Texas is really going to get it, I think. So this is what I've done. I just posted this on my Facebook page here, and I'm focused in on northwest Texas here, but this is what I'm forecasting as of now, and just based upon some shit. This is not a big change at all, and I don't anticipate making bigger changes than this here. Okay, what I've done is I've just kind of reshaped some of this stuff here too. There could be still, there's going to be some accumulating snows up here too. Most of it light. I'll go 1 to 3, but most of this area up here is probably closer to 1 inch. And then you kind of get kind of a dusting back into this area here, Vernon down towards like Monday, those areas, maybe Throckmorton, maybe Seymour. Then there's going to be a bit of a heavier area here, kind of over maybe from, let's say, Cotton, Wichita, maybe Archer, Young County here, where a couple inches, maybe even up to 3 inches will be possible. But then you get into maybe where there's going to be a longer period. I've upped it to, this is from 1 to 2 earlier. I'm now 1 to 3, and we'll go 2 to 5 now over here in our eastern counties. That would be Montague County. As a matter of fact, you're under a winter storm warning now from the Weather Service. Everybody else winter weather advisory, but wouldn't be surprised to see some more counties included in on that. But if I were focused in on areas further north and east of Dallas there, I probably would draw bigger, broader areas because there could be some spots in there that really get hit pretty hard. So. But with any weather event, especially a winter weather event, a lot of times you just don't see these things coming until you get into the event itself. Mesoscale features, smaller scale features in the atmosphere, that is, takes over, and that's when you start getting those bands of heavier snow, and then you can kind of see where they're going to line up. But I do believe there's been a little bit of a shift back to the northwest, and that's why I urge you guys all the time to be so careful about falling victim to those bright maps. They're all, everybody and their brother posted those things all over social media earlier this week. Listen, our weather models, they do a good job with weather patterns, and sometimes they can do a pretty good job with with precipitation events too. But they're just, a lot of times they struggle with the fine details of things. Now, if you're further east over towards Memphis or up towards let's say Louisville, Kentucky, those areas over there, maybe Montgomery, Birmingham, Alabama, those areas, you see them coming. And the models do a better job over that way. The reason why they struggle so much is everything usually develops here. This is where it develops, just east of the Rockies. It's coming away from the Rocky Mountain states where it's relatively dry in the desert southwest, finally meeting up with the Gulf moisture over this way. Everything comes together or starts trying to come together here. Oftentimes it doesn't get its act together until it gets to the east. The models struggle with that. They struggle with the development. They just struggle with the initial part of it. Once it develops, it's pretty easy. The models do a good job showing that. That's why it's so hard to forecast here. So hard to forecast here. And believe me, I've been doing it for over 15 years. Now, I can't believe I have all this hair on my head still, because I have about pulled my hair out multiple times, especially this week. So William H. Brings a good point here. Everybody and his brother has been posting that 10 to 1. All right, so let me explain to the viewers what 10 to 1 is. That represents 10 inches of snow for every 1 inch of rainfall. All right, so a lot more goes into account than that here. When temperatures are marginal, 10 to 1 usually doesn't do that good. It's probably more like about 8 to 1. And 10 to 1 doesn't take into account melting. It doesn't take into account that sleet could be mixed in. It's better to show a what's called snow depth. That's the more accurate thing to show, because that does take into account all of that. But these people don't want that because it's not as pretty and it's not as eye-catching as the 10 to 1 is showing up. So then when it doesn't happen, what happens is we will get messages. Oh, you blew your forecast. You said it's going to be no, I didn't. I didn't say that. You saw the social media folks doing that, and you lump us all into the same thing, and we're not. We're not. There's a difference between what what I am and what a lot of these other guys are. Now, I'm not saying that people like Mark D. Storm Chaser, he's probably a really good forecaster there. I mean, like you said, rarely in Texas do we ever see a 10-to-1 ratio. That's exactly right, Mark. There's a lot of guys out there on social media that are really smart, but there's some out there that are not too. So you have to be careful about that. I'm not saying don't trust those guys. I mean, I actually think Max Velocity does a pretty good job. So, I mean, there's some good guys out there. All right, so let's go back here to the what's going on here. I'm just looking here and trying to see. So somebody asked for a true snowfall prediction in Dallas. I'm going to be honest about it, Drew. Dallas is very difficult to forecast this event, especially in because there's going to be a range of precipitation types from sleet to snow, freezing rain, and maybe even rain down that way. And you may go back and forth between the two. So, it could be difficult. But I do believe that Dallas northward, you will wind up into that 2 to 5 inch range, probably closer to 5 than 2. Henrietta, Dustin, is a close call because Henrietta is kind of on the border there. Tony Martin, no, I don't think you should call it. I know you want to, but no, don't do that just yet. Let's see how this thing plays out. Dustin wants to know about Henrietta. Just close call there. You're right there on the border. I mean, I'm going to go 1 to 3 in Henrietta, but it could be more. You could be closer to 3 than 1 there. Fort Worth, again, a very difficult place there, Marshall. Very, very difficult because, again, you're going to be in the snow. You're going to see some sleet. You're going to see some rain. You're going to see some freezing rain maybe. But I'm thinking, probably into that 2 to 5 inch range in Fort Worth, maybe slightly higher. Well, Tony, I didn't tell you to do that. We're going to blame Randy on that here, man. If you do call in and start your weekend early, hey, look, I'm all about mental vacations there. Sometimes you got to take off and call in sick, even when you're not really sick, for a good mental rest day. I'm 100% in support of that. But hey, I didn't tell you to do it. Somebody else did. Randy did. So, do we have any idea when it will start in Wichita Falls? Well, like I say, there's going to be a couple of waves. I think in the morning, definitely, 7, 8 o'clock, there'll be some stuff around. And that'll last and pick up some mid to late morning there, and it may be a lull in the activity in the afternoon, or maybe early to mid afternoon, and we could see another wave come in tomorrow night. So that's what we're looking at. It will be a blast in Jacksboro tomorrow for the county stock show. I'm sure it will be. You could get some decent snow amounts down that way. How does it look for Stevens County? Well, Stevens County, you're another one of those that's kind of on the border. I've got you in that 1 to 3 inch range, and I certainly think that's possible. But it's not out of the realm of possibility that at least the southeastern part of the county could get a little bit more than that. When will this start, and will roads possibly be okay to drive around 8 a.m.? Oh, close call, Teresa. I think they may be fine, maybe, but I don't know. Everything's going to be coming in and starting in the morning. So I mean, and especially if these temperatures are below freezing at that time, it ain't going to take long. Remember, it's been cold this week. It won't take long for the roads to get kind of dicey. So I'm going to say probably in the morning, probably just kind of keep an eye on things and see how it goes. If we see a situation where the snow or the precipitation stops, temperatures may try to rise a little bit, maybe a little bit there. But if we do keep precipitation falling throughout the day, then temperatures aren't going to rise much above freezing. So this person wants to know, do you sew models for the Southeast? Well, I mean, I can. All I have to do is just broaden it. What would you like for me to show, Pablito? Just let me know. How far west do you see the next? Right now, it looks like the far west would be kind of Throckmorton, Wichita Falls, and then kind of up to maybe Lawton or just east of Lawton area. That's what it looks like to me. But, subject to change. So it looks like I say, everything is moving. It looks like to me the storm center itself might be trying to move a little bit further west, and that could push some of this stuff away. We'll just have to see how it all happens. So. All right, so let's see here. Megan says, I hope it moves northwest and all of a sudden we get smashed. Go big or go home. I say that too, Megan. Go big or go home. I agree. If it's going to do it, do it. Don't tease me with this little, piddly stuff. Give me the good stuff if we're going to get it. I don't think it. I think it comes in waves. I think morning, and then I think we might see a little break in some areas, and then it kind of picks up again, maybe again tomorrow night, maybe tomorrow evening, something like that. So Wichita going to be closer on the 1 or 3. Hard to say, but I'm actually going to go somewhere closer to the 3 maybe. Thursday weather, tomorrow softball. I don't know what you're talking about. I would have to really go. I'd have to move stuff around. I'll try to look some stuff up for you in North Carolina maybe. We'll see here in a minute. It is hard. Do I think that Wichita gets, crazier things have happened, but I don't think so. I think we're going to be just on the outside of that. Now, if the evening run of the NAM was right, maybe, but I don't think so. I think we're going to be closer to the 1 to 3 inch range than we will into the 2 to 5. But we'll see. We can update that. Somebody wants to know, it's 32 at Lake Arrowhead. How much lower? Temperatures will drop just a little bit, but probably not a lot more. South winds have kicked in, so. So one thing, it just makes it, when it's cold outside like this, it makes it so difficult to get out of bed, does it not? So, especially when you got dogs laying on top of you, keeping you warm, you're like, oh, this is so comfortable, and you're keeping me so warm, I don't want to get up. But, you got to got to get up, and you got to go. So, all right, so what's the accumulation look like, Bowie? I'm going 2 to 5 there, Corey. I really am. We just have to wait and see how it all plays out, but that's what I'm thinking as of right now. No incoming blizzard, Nina. You have to have strong winds for that, and we're not going to have strong winds for that. Kroll, you're going to be on the outside of this. I don't think you're going to see much over there at all. Just a little bit, maybe a dusting, maybe an inch, but not a lot. Sorry, Elaine. Susan, I think 7, 8 o'clock in the morning should see some stuff around the area. Apple Weather app. I love that, weather apps. Apple Weather app shows only chances are like 2 or 3 p.m. and then nothing. Hurt your model earlier, looked like snowing all the way into Friday morning. I don't know what the Apple Weather app goes on. A lot of that, I'm going to be honest about it, a lot of these apps are trash. What do the young guys, the kids say? That's trash, that's garbage, bro. It is. A lot of them are really bad. Really bad. And, I think there could be a lull maybe in the activity, but it looks like another wave comes in tomorrow night. A lot of that stuff's based upon, I don't even know what it's based. A lot of it's just, what you see is just a bot putting those forecasts out. It's not a human actually doing that. So sometimes the bots get it right, though, right? Sometimes the dart will hit the bullseye. Granfield, I got you into that 1 to 3 inch range. You might be closer to the 1-2 inch range though. No, Monica, no blizzard. Here's why no blizzard. Completely different setup though. But that storm center itself was much more energized. It had a lot of energy with it, and that storm center itself crept right up the east side of Texas and into eastern Oklahoma. Ideal for us to get a big snow here. It was. And we had wind with it too because it was rapidly intensifying. This one's way down there in the Gulf of Mexico or just on the northwest side of that, so you don't have a lot of wind. Blizzards go on on visibility. That's what they base a blizzard upon, is visibility. Yeah, William, like you say, I'm not a fan of these apps. I really am not. I know the general public likes them because they're easy to pull up, and the thing. Here's what's crazy here is I'll have somebody will be standing there with me, and they'll know that I'm the weatherman, and they'll say, "Well, let me look at my app here and see what it says," and they'll just not even be thinking; they'll just do that, and I'm like, "Okay." Or we'll be like, I'll say, well, it's not going to rain or it's not going to snow. Well, my app says it is going to, and I'm like, your app's not right. So, I don't think that. Marshall? How often do you see 11 inches of snow in Dallas, Texas? Now, I can remember one time in my career here, and I've been here for a while, that there was a foot of snow in Dallas. That was an unforecasted event too. I mean, snow was forecasted, but not that much. And it snowed a big old heavy wet snow. It was an upper level low pressure system that produced it. It's called a cold core upper level low that produced it. This is different than that. You're not going to get 11 inches in Fort Worth. Ken, do you prefer it snow, or would you rather it not? Fan or not? I am not a fan of cold weather and not a fan of snow. I'm sorry, but I just don't like it. Because everything is cold outside, and when the dogs go outside, they love it, and they roll around and bring it all back in the house. And it's just, everything is wet and cold and gross. And not to mention how expensive it is to heat my house. I mean, it is nuts. Granted, I have a big house, but I mean, it takes a lot. I have to cut the auxiliary heat on, and then whenever you do that, it's just money flying out the window there. So, I like my weather app for a News Channel 6, the First Alert 6 weather app, because I update that myself. If I didn't update it myself, I wouldn't like it. But since I update it myself and I know where the data, most of the data comes from is me, so that's why I like it. But in general, I'm just not a big fan of apps, because a lot of them are just bots and whatnot. And it's just, eventually they'll probably get them right with some AI or something, but right now I'm just not a big fan of them. So, whether you're right or wrong, I sure do appreciate the time and effort, knowledge, and care you put into keeping us informed. Thank you, Aubrey. I love what I do, but I'll tell you what, man. I mean, the way things are, back in the day, we did TV weather. We would update the web, and then we would do some radio forecasts, and that was it. Now we've got to be on everything now. I mean, all social. I'm talking every social media. And if you're not updating it multiple times a day, then you're behind. Because these YouTubers out there, they're chomping at the bits to gain viewers, and they're getting them too. So if I'm not doing those things too, I'm losing. So I have to. So Eric Fox is one of my very best friends. He's a number one. He's a fan. I'm not saying this because you're on here, but he's a fantastic dude, great dude. But he's a storm chaser, weather enthusiast. He's a police officer, former Army Ranger. He just does everything. Plus he also is the CEO for the Storm Chaser Summit. I guess that's what they call you anyway. But Eric says the NAM. He's a fantastic forecaster too. And, I don't know, Eric. I mean, the NAM model, I think what happened is, I think that, because the GFS kind of shows that too a little bit, I think that the NAM model's picked up on, and maybe you can almost see the upper level system got to get a little bit of a negative tilt to it. And I think it's pulling the first surface storm a little bit further back off to the northwest. And I think that's what you're seeing, why you're seeing a little shift. Not a big shift, but a little shift. Eric Simmons. All right, let me say something, Eric. Are you one of those guys that are just always pumping XRP? Because I got XRP, and it fluctuates between about $2 and about $2.40. And every day, $3, $5, $10 incoming, and it never does. It never does. I know how stocks work. But, I don't know. I think eventually it will, but I don't know about right now. So, is it going to be cold enough to place a grocery order and forget about it outside for an hour or so with that? I think so. Yeah, I think so. I actually agree with that, Katie. I mean, this is actually a good point, because I do this sometimes, and I think it'll be fine. Matter of fact, I had a cup of ice in my truck the other day, and it's still ice in it today. I don't like the cold either. I don't like the cold. Pablito, he says, when it comes to snow for southern states, why is it so complicated to predict and so rare to have? Everything deals with storm track. The way the Coriolis effect is with the earth, the way all of that, the way that everything, the Coriolis, of course, would have to do more with the spin of the Earth and the way everything lines up. Your storm tracks are usually from southwest to northeast. A lot of times they get going in the Gulf of Mexico, and then they track up there along the east coast of the U.S., and they draw that warmer air in from the ocean, from the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico. Track is everything. You've got to be on the north to northwest side of those things to get snow. And oftentimes where you live, you know, the honey spot, the sweet spot would be northwest of you, back into the Appalachian Mountains and kind of in those areas. But storm track is everything. It's essential. I don't care if you're in Michigan. If you're on the wrong side of the storm, you won't get anything. You'll get rain instead of snow. So. Well, thank you for that, Eric. Yeah, believe me, I want it to pump more. I want it to go nuts. I want it to go nuts. I want XRP to blow up. I want it to be the next Bitcoin, and I think it can be. And I don't understand why, with all the good benefits it has, I have no idea why it stays the price. It should be way higher than it is. I think it gets manipulated, and that's why. HRR is also off a few degrees out west. I'm going to see if it corrects. I'm just throwing a dart up and seeing where it hits. Well, I think that's what everybody's doing right now, honestly, Eric. I mean, I think that's what everybody's doing. You know, I try to. Yeah, I see it. See, that's what I'm talking about. The NAM model is bringing that low pressure system. It's bringing it further to the northwest because it's showing the upper air trough taking a negative tilt. It means it's tilting back to the left some. And as it does so, it's pulling that surface low further to the northwest there. And I think that's why the NAM has had a shift. Let's see if that continues. If those trends continue tomorrow and into when we start getting other data in. Yeah, it won't be late tonight, Avriel. It'll be tomorrow into tomorrow night, honestly. All right, so time right now is 11:19. We've had some great weather hits over the last couple of days. And if you're just now watching, wondering what I mean by weather after dark. Weather after dark was made for you, is what it was. So, you know, we want to get more involved on social media. And, you know, and let's just face it, if I'm up there showing you a weather forecast on every day, that's going to be boring. You don't want to watch that. I mean, if there's interesting weather going on, you're going to. But if there's nothing going on, you're going to go turn in and watch that. So anyway, we do weather after dark, and mostly it's just weather dudes, just a couple of us nerdy weather guys just hanging out and just shooting the bull and just having fun and making fun of each other and ripping on each other and talking about events in the world. Anything but, we talk about anything but politics. But we talk about all kind of fun, crazy stuff, and always, you know, it's fun to really rip on Cameron Lindsay, and then you get my son Hayes involved. It's a lot of fun. We try to do that. When the weather quiets down again, we'll go back to doing the crazy stuff, but until then, we got to be a little more serious. So let's see here. We got, and by the way, I'm a nut too. I really am. I'm a nut. You know, I'll be serious when I have to be, but in general, I like to have fun. Life's too short not to, right? Do you think it'll start later tonight? I think it'll start in the morning. Jacksboro in that 2 to 5 inch range. The 0G GFS is out, and it too is back a little bit to the west there. Let me see if the European is out. It may be. The European has been so bad, though, man. It has been all over the place, and it's usually it's the king of models. It usually is good. Yeah, it's just now coming out. It's only out through about 9 hours, so you know, it's not. It isn't going to be within our range yet. I will say this too, that a lot of the GFS ensemble models have been showing higher snow amounts all week, and most of them have shown it too. You know, Kim wants to know how long will it take the snow to melt. You know, I think it'll melt off on Friday during the day. I'm glad you like weather after dark, Shannon. It's supposed to be fun. Thank you, Eric. I enjoy being here too. I really do. And I've got a real good weather crew here. And, you know, I don't want to lose them, but I know at some point in time I will because they're too good to stay here. They're going to go do bigger and better things. So I'm going to hate to see them go, but be happy for them. And you know, I got good people here at work at the station that give me the resources that I need to be successful, and I'm very, very thankful for that. So Jason Ray Elbert, love you, man. Gonna miss you. He worked at the station, and he's moving on to other things now too. He worked behind the scenes though. Should I drive from Lawton to Wichita Falls for work in the morning? Yeah, just be careful if you do. There's going to probably just see how. Wake up in the morning and check out and see what Jaden is showing on the radar and see how things are. But I think that you might be all right. But you know, just watch out for some slick spots because especially if it gets started early enough, the temperatures are still below freezing, and things are gonna ice up pretty quick. Especially, it isn't gonna take much. So just be careful. At one point yesterday, the NAM had 0 for most of the state. Yeah, that's how horrible our models have been. The NAM has been awful too. But let me tell you about the NAM. The NAM is a terrible model unless it's not. And what I mean by that is, you know, sometimes you look at the NAM model and you say, oh, there ain't no way that's going to happen. And then it does. Others, you look at it, okay, well, it was right last time, then maybe it'll be right this time. Nope, it wasn't. So it's usually, the NAM is too hit or miss. The European is the one that's usually the most reliable. But I am not ruling out the NAM model because it comes sometimes will nail things. I've seen it before where everything's been showing like a lot of ice and snow for us, and then the NAM will come out and there it won't show anything at all while everything else is showing stuff, and then we won't wind up with much at all. So it can happen. Yeah, gonna miss you too, man. But good luck to you. You know, I don't know if we wind up getting some pockets of heavier snow tomorrow night. It could still be some ice and slush on the road Friday morning. I wouldn't be surprised to see, if it stays light, then yeah, they should. But if it doesn't, then it could be some issues there in the morning. Well, the good news is in today's world, we usually are able to give you plenty of warning. Plenty of warning. All right, guys, I'm tired, and I probably got a long day tomorrow. I don't know what my schedule. I'm just kind of on the wait and see thing for tomorrow. Okay, I'll be into the station when I need to be, but Jaden and Cameron are handling things in the morning. And hey, what's up, Suzanne? Got some snow headed your way. I'm gonna be up in the morning, looking at things, and I'm probably gonna let Jaden and Cameron handle things in the morning. Then I'll be in, of course, tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, work my normal shift. But we'll be doing some updates on here. We're gonna do some Ryan Hall style stuff, hopefully. Anyway, all right, guys, I've got to go. I'm tired. I'm going home and going to bed. Hopefully, I can sleep. I probably won't be able to. It'll be probably 10 milligrams of melatonin tonight instead of 5. So. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay warm and stay off those roads tomorrow. Remember to check everything out in the morning. First Alert 6 weather app's a good source of information to show you what's going on, especially if you live up here in Northwest Texas and Southwest Oklahoma. Hey, I love you guys very much. Thank you so much for tuning in to this special edition of Weather After Dark. And, I'll have all right, let me say, hold on. The last hour, the newest HER shows a second wave forming. All right, so let's go. Before I leave, I'm going to look at the HER model. I'm looking at the European right now, but it looks similar to its other runs. It don't look any different, really. It looks about the same. Shows that big blow up of snow in the morning, and then it keeps. Matter of fact, the European keeps all the snow east of us tomorrow night, but it doesn't bring the surface storm any further to the northwest there. Oh yeah, there's the latest HER model. You're right, at 22Z. There it is, another band of heavy snow, and it has the surface storm kind of hugging the coast there. But it does have a nice band of snow developing tomorrow afternoon, and that would be your band that would really expand. I'll try to show it real fast. Let's go here. But yeah, you can see into midnight tomorrow night. You can see it coming in. It's going to be interesting to see, to say the least. So, but there it is. There's that next little wave coming in. But it's there. It's possible. So hang on to your hats, folks. We'll just have to see how it all plays out. Matter of fact, the latest run of the HERB model actually brings warm enough air northward where Dallas sees rain tomorrow afternoon and no snow. And, that might mean that, of course, that might not be correct, but I'm going to look at the 850 low and see what that looks like. Give me just a second here. Yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like that 850 low may be a little bit to the northwest there, too. What does the sounding look like out of Dallas? I don't know. It looks like freezing rain to me. Freezing rain, probably so. All right. It'll be interesting to see, William, to say the least. It'll definitely be very, very interesting to see how things play out tomorrow. Oh, the joys of it, the joys of it. One day you're the hero, the next day you're the GOAT. Welcome to the life of the weatherman. All right, guys.